Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Daily Crypto News. And today guys, if this video hits 500 likes within 24 hours, we're giving away 50 XRP. If you want to enter, it's very simple. All you have to do is make sure you press the like button, make sure you are subscribed with the notification bell on, and make sure you comment something down below. If we hit 500 likes earlier, we'll just announce the winner instantly, so make sure you just quickly enter. And by the way, my question of today is, do you trade crypto or not at all? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm primarily asking this question because I've been looking at XRP today, and there's definitely a couple of conclusions that I want to, share with you guys here. I've been getting a little bit of inspiration everywhere from around the web, and some of you guys have shown me things that I definitely found very interesting. So I thought, why not share a little bit of that today? So if we start over on the monthly, I'm trying to zoom in here. By the way, for all of you that did not know, my computer, it crashed today. So I'm using a different one and a different microphone. Hopefully it's all sounding well. If we start on the monthly here, well, we can actually consider that the market is currently testing quite strong previously market resistance. It would be easier to show if I briefly get rid of the Fibonacci here. We can see that this was all resistance at first, and it has now turned over into support. The market has also created a strong impulse at first. Let's quickly show that with the line here. An impulse after which it corrected once more, retesting this strong structure right here. Now, because it retested this structure, it's actually quite safe to assume that from this on forward, it's going to be looking a little bit more like this. But to kind of give you some stronger confirmation about all of this, and to kind of see after such an impulse and correction, we got to put in the Fibonacci. Now, if we do that right here, what is clearly going on here is that at the minus 0.618, or in this case, since I reversed it, the 0.382, you can see it clearly comes down to the exact dot. It's a perfect correction right there, as anybody could see, and that's also an easy way to measure this correction. Now, over on the weekly, since we're going to be going down from here, I think the wave is still pretty simple to see, even though I think I should adjust my chart here once more to showcase everything a little bit better. Now, what is still quite the same situation that's going on here, the market has created another impulse. Let's quickly show that with the drawing. The market has created an impulse and a correction. And we just, I guess, showed that perfectly with the Fibonacci. But it is followed now by a little bit more of an accumulation phase. All right. So let's quickly get rid of a little things. It is followed by... All right, that does not work. I guess I'm pressing the wrong thing. Well, you guys get it, all right? It is followed by an accumulation phase that's coming right here, which is shown by the more horizontal move just above the previous area we defined here. And it kind of looks like the market has already been trapped here for about 5 weeks, which means that there's most likely some institutional investors coming in here, pressing the long button, and waiting for a bigger move to the upside. Now, having said that, we would of course also have to check this on the daily, because all of this is just to get a little bit more of an idea of the move that is going on. But in the end, ultimately, that's not what we're going to be basing our decisions upon to trade. All right, you would always have to look a little bit closer and closer. And one thing you could have done on the weekly is add in the zone here. You could have added in the zone here to, where's the thing now? You could have added in the zone here to quickly give you a better idea of what boxes we're working with. And then once you go down on the daily, you can see that the accumulation is still shown in this upper box here. Now, what we can see here is, I think, also quite obvious, but let me pick back up the brush. We can see a little bit of a normal wave, but the most interesting part, I would say, is right here, starting from the bottom that we talked about just now. We can see a good accumulation fall back down, another big move upwards. This move is where we are at right now. And to kind of grasp what we would do from here, we'd have to look at the 4-hour. But what I can tell you guys is that this is one move that we traded. All right here. So what happened is we switched over. All right. There was a pretty interesting downtrend going on. I talked about this in one of the previous videos, and I told you that I'm going to look for another entry here. So what I did is I waited for confirmation, and basically if you wanted to trade this one, you could go for either a long right here within this candle somewhere, possibly a little bit earlier, but most importantly, have your stop loss just below the lowest part of the wick. In this case is my suggestion. Again, this is not financial advice, just my opinion. But what I'm guessing for here is that we're going to be continuing this move upwards, like I already showed you guys on the previous level, on the weekly. But to confirm, we would have to look at the 4-hour. The only downside to that one is it is not really showing that clearly that we're going to be going upwards here. It's not that strong. I mean, we fell back down here to previous levels. I'm not necessarily that sure we're going to be going up on the 4-hour, which is why I'm going to be watching it for right now. It is looking quite bullish, but I'm waiting for an exit out of the zone here before I really start to turn, happy. For right now, though, it is looking pretty damn juicy, and I'm going to keep it in the back of my head. But let's go on with the video. So, Barry Garlinghouse has just posted something on Twitter. He said, a 70-plus page contradictory report is not regulatory clarity. Many responsible private players are trying to follow the rules, but that becomes increasingly hard when there's no single arbiter of the law. 5+ government agencies with different POVs on crypto. That's a reply to Nathan Popper, who said, the DOJ just put out a 71-page report with its take on crypto. Quote, this tech already plays a role in many of the most significant criminal and national security threats our nation faces, which is definitely not a very positive report. Brad actually followed up by saying, we need a framework like DCEA that provides clarity, protects consumers, and fosters innovation in the US, or companies will move their investment or whole company overseas. Which, in my opinion, Ripple is one of the best examples of. Now, I'm with you guys saying that Ripple will most likely not leave if they don't have to, because why would they want to, right? The US has always been the head of innovation. However, if they would have to, they would quit. All right, I'm definitely on board with that boat as well. If they have to, they will get out of the US, they will move somewhere else, and they definitely, the guys over at the guys over there at the government would definitely have to think twice about what they've just done. Why am I saying that? Because in my opinion, and again, you can call this one completely wrong, but in my opinion, what Ripple's doing is some groundbreaking technology, right? And if I have that in the back of my head, then if you get rid of Ripple, you're basically getting rid of quite a lot of potential future capital, right? And with that, I mean, look, Ripple has been working on so many different things, and here's a little bit of a clarification on one of the things we mentioned earlier that Ripple has been working on. We have to be clear, the line of credit is not an XRP loan. This is a direct quote from the Ripple website. Quote, the line of credit is treated as a form of payment to finance a purchase of XRP and is not a lease or loan of XRP for tax purposes. So, this I found interesting, even more interesting than I previously thought and expressed in my video. So, two things to add here. One, the US would miss out on an opportunity that Belgium, I guess, has right now with Swift and a lot of other things being headquartered in Belgium. I think the US would want some of the newer payment technology to be spearheaded by the US, right? At this point, if Ripple were to become a standard, it would be very easy for the US to say, we have the new standard of digital payments or something along those lines. Instead of, again, all those pieces of technology moving over into Europe. Why are they doing that? Because Europe often is easier with the rules. Think about why so many headquarters are in Ireland, for example, or even the Netherlands here. They're very close together here, all in Europe. and I'm talking about headquarters, not maybe subsidiaries who can sometimes be in some crazier countries like maybe Dubai and Monaco and things like that. A lot of them are for tax purposes, yes, but another, I guess, whole bundle of them are to either spread up things to make it better for the structure. A lot of them, again, come back to tax, but a lot of them also come back to rules and the fact that here, a lot more things are allowed. Again, it comes very often back to tax, but it's still about rules, right? In the end, about companies and rules. And for Ripple, I think one of the most important things right now is just a proper framework. If they can't get it right there, then it would have to move elsewhere. Otherwise, they're just stalling and stalling and stalling. Very often people come at me and say, man, is Ripple slow or what? And the more people ask me, the more I'm thinking that Ripple is slowing down their own innovation to not get too far ahead and really have to reschedule everything once they've built it, right? Things that they're building right now like this, like what we saw here, the loaning thing, I guess the credit line, that's something that really can't go wrong too much, I'm assuming. And really, it's about those corridors and you know, the intermediary between CBDCs is what really is going to be important within that framework, because things like those you really can't set up without kind of expecting failure if there's no framework. Because what if they spend so much money, so many resources, just so much time and effort into building something, and then a couple weeks later, the framework comes out and like, oh, yeah, no, what you did right there, yeah, that's not allowed, and we're going to fine you with $10 bazillion for making that small mistake. Now, I don't know if they will really be fined for such a thing, because, I mean, if the framework wasn't clear before, then you can't really fine somebody, you know, afterwards. But it's about the idea that Ripple doesn't want to have to backtrack and, you know, check back into everything they've done and correct possibly everything. They would rather just stay kind of in a neutral area, which they think is most likely fine, or have it at a basis level where it's quite simple to transition over, right? And that's, since I've kind of convinced myself that that's the case, it's not so strange in my opinion that Ripple has not been going for any really, really major move in a new innovative direction, right? All these things, they all consider still the same thing. We saw Ripple X, we saw Ripple Impact, but they're all kind of the same what they had before, only rebranded, only a little bit differently, right? One of the bigger things that is happening though is SBI. SBI's subsidiary to hold security token offering later this month. That's pretty damn crazy. Japanese financial group SBI Holdings has announced it is moving into security token offerings with a first sale of tokenized stock to take place at the end of October. In a press release today, the company said its subsidiary, SBI Esports, will issue 1,000 shares of common stock, with SBI Holdings as the underwriter. The STO will be conducted on a blockchain platform called iBet, or Elbet, I think iBet, from Boostry, a Nomura Holdings-owned company that specializes in digital SIO, or actually STOs. SBI Holdings further said it may go on to launch a business managing public offering of digital corporate bonds through SBI Securities, another subsidiary of SBI Group. By the way, for fun, have a little bit of a look at how many subsidiaries SBI has. It's pretty damn crazy. And they've also been doing quite a lot. Which brings me to another point here. It's not all about what Ripple does, all right? We should also pay very close attention to a lot of the partners surrounding Ripple and what they do. Because, I mean, is this really big, SBI subsidiary? Well, relatively. Is subsidiary, or I guess just SBI, doing anything with Tao and buying that? Is that big? Depending. But it's about the idea that a lot of these things could have a very positive effect on Ripple if they were to plan on it and then maybe do something with it that makes these things a little bit bigger. Especially with a lot of these other partnerships we're talking about or sometimes referring to. A lot of them are not directly for Ripple very, very good, but they can use that into their advantage. Think about it from this perspective. Let's say MoneyGram is using ODL. Now, if MoneyGram would only have 2 corridors, well, you wouldn't really get that far. But since they're working with ODL, and for example, MoneyGram would now get all the corridors in the world, that means that Ripple, now through that, also has access to all those places if they desire to, or if, I guess it was laid out that way in the agreement, right? Those are the things we really need to watch out for all the time, which is also why sometimes people connect dots between companies that are not possibly directly linked to Ripple, or possibly, a link that it does not necessarily use ODL yet or things like that. They all connect them just to be sure you understand the severity that might come from it, even though it might not be direct. And by the way, that's also another layer further. If MoneyGram gets a partnership with somebody else, it might not be a direct link to Ripple, because, Ripple is MoneyGram's partner and not the partner of the newer company. But maybe MoneyGram will utilize some network from the new company they're working with, which Ripple then can utilize as well. Same for mergers and things. And then another cool thing which I just saw over on Twitter, the Vechain Executive Financial Report Volume 12, which covers the period from May 2020 to July 2020, is now available at Medium. And I'm going to give you guys some time to read through this if you wanted to yourself. I'm going to be going over a couple of parts later today because it's pretty damn cool, guys. I'm pretty damn excited about Vechain. A lot of people have been having some very contradictory messages in my inbox, though. A lot of people say, man, cover more Vechain. A lot of you guys have said, man, please don't cover Vechain. So let me know what you think about Vechain in the comment section down below. And also, man, has it been crazy with all the, country level pilots and emergings right now. It's been completely crazy. But again, I'll talk more about this specific subject a little bit later today. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed this one, though. I also tried a new recording way now. I tried a different player to record this video. Hopefully it doesn't mess me up. Hopefully it's all correct. Otherwise, it just wasted 17 minutes of my life, at least, but we'll see. Guys, thank you all for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and see you guys again in another one.